Yeah, so good afternoon everybody. I'm going to present you some bits of work I developed some time ago. It's porting GNOME applications to the Maemo Platform that runs this very fancy device we have here. So, my name is Eduardo Lima, I'm also called as Etrunco, and I work for INDT. I'll talk a bit about INDT. INDT is it stands for Instituto Nokia Tecnologia, which would be like in English like a Nokia Technology Institute or Nokia Institute of Technology. It's founded by Nokia do Brasil. There are some advantages there for companies who invest in research and development. So our focus there is research and development for mobile devices. And there are about 200 employees and have various partnerships with universities in Brazil and in other countries in the world. And in Brazil, you can see in this map, we are located in 3 main sites. The first one is Manaus, that one on the left, where is the main site. And then we have their development in researching some tests with mobile device, like just not like just software tests, but tests with the device itself. Like you have the test to let the device fall on the ground, the salinity test, something like that. There are also development and research in the idea of the kernel, a Linux kernel for mobile devices, and the browser that was recently launched. It was mainly developed there also. So, and there is also Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil. I don't know if you ever heard about it. And where I work is Recife, in the coast city, like northeast region. And there, in Recife, we are about 40 employees. And our focus there is open source software for mobile devices, like this Maemo ones and also Series 60 smartphones. So some projects we developed there, mainly for Maemo Platform, like Canola, that media player. I don't know if you have used it. Carmen, Python for Maemo. We are the one who provide the bindings for Python. Mamona, which aims to build like a free distribution for be able to install it in the devices. Tapioca, which was in the beginning of the telepathy project, it was like a concurrent project, but now it uses telepathy. It means like it makes it even easier for developer of VoIP applications to use the telepathy framework. And GMIF is like a MIF TV backend for using these small devices. Some games we've done for mine also. Optimizations in the Evince library. Evince is the rendering library used for enlightenment. I don't know if you have heard about it. Now we're using Evince in the Canola project. In the beginning it was using like SDL, and Evince proved to be like very faster, much more faster than the SDL, even if it's written in Python. And we provided also this VMware and QEMU images for Maemo SDK. So, next slide. So why should we port applications? What is the motivation about it? So, you can see in this picture, it says everything. GNOME is also mobile. so you don't have this in just your laptop or desktop computer. There's GNOME spread in the OLPC, the Open Mobile Phone, the Nokia devices, LabQuest, which the guys of OpenHand were showing that. This is the main reason, but there are some others. Why would like to port applications to Maemo Platform? So, with this, we can bring a pretty new experience to these devices. For example, we don't ship here a word processor and a spreadsheet, something like that. We can provide it here. Like with this, we can get access to some proprietary formats like Microsoft ones. So we can read the Excel files, Word documents, and something like that. We can also think of them like a replacement for these built-in applications we have here, because most of them are closed, you don't have access to the code. So with this, we can fully have the free software alternative for these applications. And we benefit from all the advantage of the open source software. How can I say? Just a few ones. New features implemented quickly, bug fixes and improvements also implemented, and a large community of users that tests and report bugs. So, and if you don't found a way yet to contribute to projects, it's yet another way to contribute to them. And the last phrase there says everything. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we have very great applications running, and we can use them. So talking about some restrictions we find in these small devices. So basically, one of the main restrictions is the screen. We don't have a very big screen, but I think the resolution is acceptable. 800 for 480. So, but even like this, we have this reduced usable area. We'll see more about this later. Processor power is not that good, like it's acceptable, but some applications wouldn't run on these devices. If you think about evolution running here, it's impossible. So in the 770 we have 220 megahertz, and in the N800 we have 320. About RAM, random access memory, is just 64 megabytes in the 770, 128 in the 800, and no swap at all. So, but it can be activated to give a little bit more performance. And for multimedia applications, we have this DSP with like a dedicated processor for decoding and encoding video, audio, digital signals. So, continuing more restrictions. We have limited storage, it's flash memory, but as we use the JFFS2 file system, it helps us because it stores things like compressed format. So we say here, for example, GNOME installation would take like 24 megabytes, but it takes, in the end, the real storage like 3 or 4 megabytes. So it helps us a lot here. In the 770 we have no FPU, so floating point operations are very expensive in these devices. We have also the power consumption problem, because we're running on batteries here all the if you have like some application that would require like much processor power, it will spend more battery and so on. And there are these problems like from the Maemo side, we have some libraries that are patched, like GTK, heavily patched, and some of them are in old versions. This is finally being fixed by the Maemo team. Is doing a great job in this area. So if your application depends on like Maemo, like GTK 2.10, it won't be possible at this moment to have it run, unfortunately. And there is also the Scratchbox environment that applies some restrictions for us. So,
excuse me.
sorry.
Can you tell us the restrictions relating to the Scratchbox? That would be quite interesting to know.
Oh yeah, I mean the Scratchbox is something that I really can't understand. Well, I don't know how it works, but it works, and there are something like some binaries that are provided by Scratchbox, and even if you build it your own application, if you get it like installing the new binary version, it will call the Scratchbox one. Like, for example, we have Python. We have ported it, and Scratchbox also provides Python 2.3, but we have Python 2.5. So if you call the real Python you want, even if you overwrite the Scratchbox one, the user being Python one, it will always call Python 2.3, for example. It's like this.
You can set the environment, I think, but yeah, it's still
Yeah, it's just, I think it's too complicated. Yeah. Next. So, what we should do to start porting applications? First is install the Scratchbox environment. Unfortunately, it's the only way of doing it. Install the Maemo SDKs. So if you want 770, it's the Gregale one, and if you want 800, it's the border one. And it's great to have a device because something you can't just run on the Scratchbox RML environment, it will freeze, and you have to better to test here in the real device. And so, as you always all know, study the code of the application and find which libraries this depends on. Sorry. But we have this to check if the port is really feasible. Well, how is that? For example, if there are a set of libraries that were just cut off from the GMI environment, like GMI platform. Like one I can say here, Bonobo, GNOME Prints, libgnome, GNOME Canvas, and GNOME Kareem. So they're just not present there. And it's, I mean, they have so many dependencies relying that it just, how can I say, it's just like, you doesn't worth to build them for your device. So another thing is how much processor power is required for application to run. I mean, it's like a movie player, for example, and you don't have the codecs there. You have to run it on the device. It won't be possible to be too slow. How much storage is required, and how much memory it consumes. So basically it's like that. And how could you get rid of the GNOME stuff? I mean, like, that libraries I told you in the past slide. So something you can just replace, because libgnome provides us some very helpful calls that magically do everything for you. For example, the GNOME help can be just replaced for a few lines of codes to call Yelp from the like a GDK spawn comment. So, and the icon lookup can also be replaced with just picking some code from libgnome and posting there in your application. But it's not everything you can do like that. So something you have to like place if-def blocks there, separate the GNOME thing and the other part to another block. One thing like is GNOME program. So you can't call like GNOME program initialize, and with this you lose also the sensor management for your application. But it doesn't really matter in this device, as you always have just this one application running at the top each time. And other things are accelerators. Keep buying accelerators to synchronize. It's also possible to have an alternative for it. And finally, you have to add the configure checks for these specific bits, like if you have libgnome, if you have libhonorable, and stuff like that. For example, we have here GNOME. This is the GNOME spreadsheet application. So it's quite nice. Provides a very good experience for us. But it only depends directly in, it's GNOME Print, libgoffice, and libgsf. With GNOME Print, I provided some patches to GNOME and made it official for building. And so we got here just two dependencies, that was goffice and libgsf. So it's basically, you get the dependencies, build them, install, and then try to have the application running. And actually, it runs. Quite different. So, but I mean, it's not all the work you have to do. It's not just build an application and then have it run. You mean like, you have the menu bar there and all these three toolbars, and it's a real mess. And because you have this the characteristic here, the font is a little bit bigger than in your desktop. So it's not just having the application running, you have to adapt it to the small screen. So we have here some analysis of the screen. So for again, this is GNOME. Try to figure out its simple application. So this is our screen. We have a great resolution. It's like 800 per 480, as I said before. But we have some problem here. You see that the application only uses that area. So the whole black thing is like reserved for the Halo desktop environment. Actually, you can use it full screen, but I mean, like this, you have this prediction of the area you can use. So, and if you have to edit something, it's even worse, because you have to fire up the keyboard. So the keyboard stores for you like 150 pixels, and if you get this resolution here. And so toolbars are placed behind in the bottom of the screen, and so you get this less more or less 60 pixels to take it for you. And again, if you use like the keyboard and the toolbar, it's even worse. So it's like half of the area is gone. So you have to think all about this. And you can have like several keys. So you have to be careful of using it. So okay, about this analysis. So what we have to do? You remember that first picture of numerical running? We have this menu stuff and toolbars all over the places, and the status bars and everything like that. But GNOME provides us some cool stuff that can help us in this case of small screens. So to use GNOME program and GNOME window to have that round corners and the management for it, for the GNOME desktop to know when your application is running. The menu is located in that. Okay, let me see. That bar with the name of the application there. So if you click there in the menu, we will go down. The two bars, as I said, they go in the bottom of the screen. Tap and hold is like for context menus. Then you click and then leave the stylus pressing the screen, and then you get an animated cursor showing, then the menu will pop up. So this is a way, because you don't have like two mouse buttons there. And a lot of dialogues for opening, saving, font selector, color selector, and everything like that is provided by GNOME and is optimized for the device screen. So with this, everything else we can hide. I mean, it's just not a rip-off of the application because you change the functionality of the application. If the application doesn't provide this for you, so do it like I did in the GNOME editor. We had this. You have the area of the paths here, and you have the keys there, the upside. I don't know if you have seen it, and the key documentation. So in the status bar. So there isn't implemented yet, but I have patches in Bugzilla. Today I was just talking to Fernando to review my patches, and I provided the functionality of hiding the key documentation and the status bar. So we have just the navigation here and the keys here on the other side. So you keep focus on what the application should do. So how is this Hildanization process? That's that we call. So you have just a few steps here. It's very simple. You have first to replace your top level GTK window for a Hildan window. It's just the Hildan window is upper class of GTK window. It derivates from GTK window, so they are fully compatible. You have a Hildan program instance, and then get this Hildan window and add it to the Hildan program. You have to change the GTK menu bar to a regular GTK menu, so it can be in the Hildan menu stuff, and add this menu to the Hildan window. All the toolbar objects are compatible with window. You just add them to your window and you're done. And configure to check Hildan libraries. So in the end we have like this. So the menu is there, toolbars, everything is working. Way different from the other view we had. So other tips. Here we have the it won't appear up in that bar line that say the application name. So use gset application name. The window has, as on the redirects, the property of in these settings of showing or not showing the GTK menu icons and the GTK button icons. So it's to get more like to be like more a Maemo application that doesn't show icons at all in buttons or menus. You unset these properties. You have to register the application with Lib also, so that you have only one instance of your application running in the system. So it saves a lot of memory for you. If your application is already running, and then it will bring it to the top. With this, you can do it like using also initialize and also deinitialize to deregister the application, to unregister the application. And this is made by the bus. So you have to put the service for your application in the bus service directory. And other tip is your desktop files go to another location. I mean, this should be fixed by people there in Nokia. I think so. They're doing. Hey.
Now we have support for the default applications directory. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So
Nice
the
to
next
hear.
release will follow a little bit more the specs.
Yeah.
So
Great. So.
this is totally nonsense.
Yeah. Something is. Well, things have changed. So.
Yeah.
Great. So you have to place this. Until now, I have to place your desktop files in user share applications, not just user share applications. Yeah. With all this, you have application running, you have your dependencies building, and so, but it's not really finished. We need to build packages for everything. And this is, I mean, the very, very, like, boring part of it. It's really annoying to build that package. I don't like it. I just like to build it and run it, okay? But you have to distribute it to other people to use it, so they will distribute this Debian package. And you have to do it twice. So, one of the 386 targets, that's your host machine, and then the other one for the ARM architecture that runs in these devices. So you have to build it twice. You test, and then if you have it running, so you test the packages in your device and see if everything running. Because every Scratchbox that I told you doesn't provide a full emulation of something like, for example, you can't, if you try to open a file or thing like that in the ARM target, you just freeze and crash your application. So you have to test it in your device. So publish the packages. Maemo has this extras repository where you can upload packages there. Maybe it's not quite clear who can do it, but I mean you can do it. And everything is done. Just submit your patches back and hope to someone to revisit, review them and apply them for you. Some challenges found here and that aren't really solved. It's like some dialogues in the applications are just don't fit the small screen. So I'll show you just this small example here. have this my environment running. I have a couple of applications here. I mean, this one. This is Evince running, right? And if I open a file here, my components. No, it's just not good. So you can see here I have two instances running, two windows running, but it's just one instance. So I have this, and then you go to the properties dialog to have something like this. So it's in your screen, your laptop is just okay. It's normal size, but in the device it won't run. Now imagine if you try to create a chart in a spreadsheet, for example. That dialog is like half of the screen in your your more than 1000 resolution screen. So one big challenge is find a way to have the same logical behind the dialogues and two different implementations of it, like showing in the device, in the small screen, and then in the desktop computer. Another challenge is to reduce the installation size so it can fit better. People don't need to download it, like numeric takes needs you to download like 10 megabytes, which is too much. So what we can do for it is just don't install documentation and leave translations like in separate packages. You not install all the translations. So with this you have you can have like half of the size. And as I told you, Debian packaging is boring, annoying, and so you have to do it twice every day, everything. So, and another challenge is to try to find a way to have these applications running in acceptable performance in the devices. So, for example, we can have Evince running here, but it consumes lots of memory. If you don't have a swap activated, I mean, don't try running it because it will just freeze your device and something like that. But free software is like this, you have to always improve. So this is one of the challenges you have. So last thing I would say is show some applications we've ported there. Examples like ZWord, the word processor. Have Evince that I already showed you running. The GNOME editor is quite useful, but people didn't like import it because I mean it shows your web keys, your WPA keys, everything is stored in GNOME. So
yeah, it exposed a bug.
Yeah,
Yes.
we should use like some keyring in Maemo. So everything is there. You can see all passwords are there.
Don't tell it.
So it's a little bit not everybody like it. So Rhythmbox, actually this is just a screenshot that I made some time ago. I didn't actually finish it because of some project restrictions, and I had to move to another project. And I started and haven't finished, but I expect to have it running. It's quite nice. You have this access to Avahi sharings and things like that. These other two are not quite GNOME applications, but GTK applications, just to show how we can use another applications like they're easily found in GNOME files, and replace the ones that come with Maemo. It's pre-installed. It's just a simple text editor. It's used by the calls mail program to send to write emails, to compose emails. It calls the leafpad program to send to write emails. And this other one is Journal. I don't know, it's short or Zerno, things like that. So it's like a note-taking tool, quite interesting because it has it's not just grabs your mouse and keeps it. It really draws a canvas, so it's a little bit more sub-pixel capacity, and it also can annotate PDF files. So you load the PDF and write on it, and then export PDF again. So it's quite good, but its performance is not very awesome. And then this I have here controlling my presentation. It's VNC, so I started the VNC server in my laptop and running here the client in the device. So that was pretty much about it. I know it was a little bit fast, but if I went through code here, we wouldn't get out of here today. So, any questions?
You say that you are searching for a general way to manage the dialogues. So at this
Sorry?
moment, one of the challenges is the dialogues problem.
Yeah.
So you don't have a general way. So at this moment, you are modifying one by one to look well at the device.
Yeah, basically like that. It's quite a very intrusive patch for people to get it upstream. So it usually don't get accepted. You have to find a better way to do it.
Yeah, the problem is that in the case of GNOME applications, they were not thought to separate the kind of the core engine or behavior of the application, the user interface.
Yeah,
But for example, I guess you've heard of this in-Lipo set of applications, A's, contacts, and so on. They developed those mini applications already thinking about having multiple user interfaces for the same core functionality. So they have, for example, dates for Maemo, but they can easily port dates for other user environments, mobile user environments.
Sure.
Have you tried to patch the DTK dialog class to make it?
It's not like just the DTK dialog. It's the functionality the dialog provides. For example, you can just you have this in GNOME metadata dialog, which is like quite big and have a lot of functionalities, but it's glade and it has the logical part, but everything mixed there. So it's not just a platform, GK dialog.
When you are using it in a mobile device, I guess some information is not relevant, for example. So, I don't know, for this metadata dialog, maybe it's not useful to show everything, so you just choose certain parts of the dialog to show up.
Yeah, and this is like a device we can use it for hardcore, like we'll write a whole thesis here, no, it's impossible. So it's just like meant to, for example, in this case of spreadsheets and Word documents, if you receive it by mail, you save it and you have the ability to open here and also actually look at it, and if you have to send it back to approve something so you just, so no changes and that, and send it back. It's just the main purpose of it. Any more questions?
So you have any specific ideas how this whole Maemo Hilden thing could be improved to make it easier for application developers?
Yeah, I think that. Well, especially people complain a lot is like the Scratchbox environment. So, the development is quite. It's taking the rails like with this new version that is coming up there, the Chinook version. Then the main problem really was the packaging libraries. You have to adapt your things, and you couldn't just upgrade them. You have to use them like they are, and so you can't provide your one. If it's my device, I can't rip it off and try to build my one. So it's just not possible. So I think they're finding they're following a very good direction in this making things easier.
Okay, so the Scratchbox problems you solve and the upgradability of packages that would make life.
Yeah, very, very, very much easier.
That's
I-
what I involved in my writing thought was invested on image spaces.
Oh yeah, I see.
So now it's possible to develop things on the desktop without using Scratchbox and you can tell you use Scratchbox for it by now.
Yeah, and if you can develop there, but sometimes you get to fall into the Scratchbox
Yeah.
to build packages for their environment.
But I guess, there's one thing that, in the case of Maemo, wasn't pushed very forward so far, is that for Python applications, for example, you don't need a Scratchbox at all. If you have all the dependencies there in your system, then you can just package the same code and run your device. So I don't think the developers are using it that much. And actually, I think it's quite simple to port a lot of applications that are written in Python. Correct?
Yeah, Python just works.
Yeah. So for this case in the desktop, you
Yeah.
have something running for, and now probably you have support for Python plugins in the desktop, so you can just write something outside this complex environment.
As you said, sometimes language just doesn't work. So, on the developer side, it's okay, but sometimes developers want to know how the application is going to look in Scratchbox. I find that it's really difficult to set up and to know
That's
how
the
it
thing.
works. And I tried it myself before to got the Nokia, and now I don't need it. There is some point that I will need to write some program or something, and when I'm programming, I want to know how it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking just about that, like, it would be cool to have just a next session with the resolution of the device, and maybe a GDK application with a user interface with the buttons to push the button.
That's it's possible to run it on the system.
And
On my local system, I can use it
if you don't have a Debian-based system, it's like even worse to set it up.
Yeah.
Something like that.
These test Scratchbox actually so bad. You pointed out the Python issue. I have only a couple of times read out that the incompleteness of the ARM emulation. At least in my use, I don't remember when I last time used this x86 mode with the Scratchbox at all.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of depending what you are doing.
Yeah.
Are you getting any problems? And for these emulation issues, these IM it could work for make this VMware image. But if someone likes to get this as easy as it is, they can download it from their site and just put the virtual machine with every Scratchbox inside. And also these keys, okay, it's maybe documentation issue, but the 770 or N800 keys, they match the function keys. You just must remember what is F6 and or something on your keyboard. It's okay. I think that it's badly documented, but
It is documented.
Yeah, it's okay.
somewhere. But okay, it's how to find it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think from the GNOME point of view, it would be, now we have this reference architecture, this mobile platform, and I think a good first step would be to kind of make all the applications compliant with only this platform, in one, in a way. So I think Ross and Eduardo have been like working on that in some way. So Evince, I think it's kind of.
No, this is just need the human part. Like GNOME part is also not. You're already
it's much easier if you have like the dependencies problem
so
already solved. So you just need to change like top level Windows in one developer and others.
yeah, I'm really working on that, trying to bring these applications to the Maemo platform and doing it the right way, like making things like optional things that are not in the Maemo platform. Just optional.
Yeah, because one thing that I noticed that if you take some ready-made Debian package with Debian control files, the dependency problem that they have very stupid dependencies for documentation tools, and if you try to make the directly package, it tries to install 200 stupid documentation tools to your tablet, and then you need to be very careful to rip out on the Debian files, the dependencies for all this. And I really wonder about why the developers, they haven't made the documentation but somehow optional, but it has like
That's a packaging issue. Probably you might want to tell those. I mean, whenever you find these kind of packages that just put all together, what you need to do is like go to mainstream and say, okay, split this package to one of these
make documents which refers one of the some text or some package that refers that and runs other packages.
Actual thing is that because the packages are kind of low quality in terms of dependencies, usually in our device it kind of gets pronounced because there are not all the dependencies.
Yeah.
But in desktop you don't need to care because you have it in another room, you have all the packages, you can move all the dependencies to the other light. But when you try to port in from one limited devices, then you need to be careful what the dependencies you have.
So actually, many programs might benefit from improving the dependencies on desktop too, because at least time to time I have some problems with installing some packages on my Ubuntu because somebody has stated like absolute version to some.
Yeah, that's right. Someone else? So, okay.